face each and every day.
Alan Jackson's oldest daughter, Maddie, married the love of her life, Ben Selecman, in October 2017. But Ben tragically lost his life in September 2018, making Maddie a widow at just 28 years old. Maddie grieved for years, until fate took her in a new direction. This is the real truth about Maddie's new life and her new love. Media outlets, including Taste of Country, reported on Ben's tragic passing,
due to injuries sustained from a fall in Florida.
But no account was more devastating to hear than Maddie's personal recollection of the accident. Maddie and Ben had joined her parents and other family members to celebrate the Labor Day weekend. They were gathered in Juniper, Florida, where Alan and his wife Denise have a vacation property. Alan also keeps a boat in Florida, and everyone was going for a boat ride. Maddie remembered the day as sunny and hot. Although the boat dock felt slippery and wet under her feet, Maddie said that Ben just slipped. He fell backwards on the deck, and he hit his head on the concrete. While the incident was shocking, Maddie wasn't too concerned at first. She explained it was a pretty long fall, but you know, it was one of those things where it's almost like watching someone play high school football. Maddie fully expected Ben would shake it off, although she wondered if he might have suffered a mild concussion. In an interview with People, Maddie confessed that she and Ben were still in the honeymoon phase of their life. Shockingly, this happened only 3.5 weeks before their first wedding anniversary. Maddie said, Ben had one of the biggest personalities of anybody I've ever known. He was joyful and cheerful, and he was friends with everyone. On the day of Ben's accident, 2 people who weren't friends with Ben were still worried about him. Maddie recalled that 2 off-duty EMTs came over shortly after Ben slipped. They'd watched him fall. And shockingly, the EMTs told Maddie and her family that Ben should probably be checked out in an ER. So Maddie got her husband to a hospital right away. After that, the situation became very desperate far too quickly. Neurosurgeons examined Ben, and they told Maddie something terrifying that she never expected to hear. The specialist said, there's a chance we're going to have to do surgery because Ben's brain started to swell. The surgeons also told Maddie that's really where the danger lied. The situation was even more unreal for Maddie because her husband was still awake at this point. Maddie recalled he was disoriented and in pain, but he was awake. But tragically, Ben's brain swelling was more dangerous than anyone could anticipate. He had to go through multiple brain surgery. Ben was even placed in a medically induced coma for a week and a half. This was a desperate move by doctors to control what was happening to him. Maddie has a strong faith in God. Even at this low point, she refused to give up hope. After consulting with Brian's doctors and getting advice from her family, Maddie bravely decided that Ben should be woken up from his induced coma. It's tragic to hear what Maddie thought the outcome would be. Although she did realize that Ben had a long, hard road ahead of him, Maddie thought that waking Ben up was like the light at the end of the tunnel. She said that she prepared herself for many years of helping her husband through physical therapy. Maddie said that she even expected to be spending plenty of time with Ben at a brain trauma clinic. But the reality was far more devastating for Maddie and her family. Shortly after Ben was woken up from the induced coma, he suffered a broken blood clot in his head. It resulted in multiple strokes, and Ben experienced severe terminal brain damage. How Maddie felt in these desperate moments is incredibly painful to hear. Maddie confessed, you can't ever imagine that high of a high and that low of a low within a 3-minute window. Within 24 hours, it became clear that Ben would not survive. Maddie later described this on the Tamron Hall show.
His heart eventually stopped beating.
Ben passed away on September 12th, 2018. For Maddie, the 3 years after Ben's tragic passing were the absolute hardest, and it felt like her life was falling apart. She said, there were so many times when I had no idea how to process anything. But Maddie figured out how to journey through her pain and sadness. She confessed, I thought if God could use all of my questions and all of my tears and all the stuff I was grappling with, then maybe Maddie could help someone else in her situation feel like they were not alone. She wanted to try and accomplish this. And for Maddie, that meant writing a book. Maddie's book, Lemons on Friday, Trusting God Through My Greatest Heartbreak, was published in November 2021. She had an unbelievable goal in mind with her book. Maddie told People that her life story so far was honestly grieving something that is heartbreaking, that you know God could have stopped. While that sounds depressing, Maddie's ultimate goal with her book was to spread hope. Maddie confessed that she didn't think God chose to inflict such tremendous pain on her. She said, I think the world is broken, and it's sinful, and bad things happen, and docks get wet, and people fall. That's the way it is. After Maddie published her book, it was obvious that she'd spread hope to so many other people. Maddie looked beautiful and happy when she appeared on TV to remember her late husband.
Ben was such an easy man
to love.
But there was still a big question mark in Maddie's life, and it created fear and uncertainty in her heart. Maddie told people the thing that she was most afraid of, because she didn't want to leave her love for Ben behind. She said, "Am I going to forget and start to lose memories of things about him?" Maddie didn't know how long she should leave her wedding ring on, or how long to keep pictures of her and Ben up. Still, she kept hoping and praying, and she explained why in a post on Instagram. Maddie asked God to give her the chance to love someone with her whole heart again. She'd formed close friendships with other widows. These new friends assured Maddie that her heart would heal, and they told her that her heart would expand to love two people equally, though differently. In 2021, a close friend of Maddie's wanted her to meet someone named Conor Smith. Maddie decided to test the waters with a blind date. She later admitted on Instagram that her blind date was the brother-in-law of one of her best friends. Maddie explained that she agreed to meet Conor at a happy hour, and she confessed 4 hours later, drinks turned to dinner. And from that day till now, he has been one surprise after another. In September of 2022, Maddie and Conor went to Florida to celebrate his birthday. Shortly afterward, Maddie posted another message on Instagram. She wrote, "Well, came down for a beach week to celebrate my sweet man's 30th birthday." Maddie also had a shocking announcement for her followers. It was the best possible news of all. She showed off her ring on Instagram, and she wrote that she was feeling overwhelmingly thankful, excited, and thrilled. Maddie wrote how much she loves Conor's playful spirit and kind heart. She added that Conor is the biggest blessing in the dang cutest packet. And Maddie wrote, "Love you, baby." On May 12, 2023, Maddie and Conor got married in a stunning location, the Breakers Palm Beach Resort in Florida. Maddie later wrote on Instagram, "Woo! We did it." Grateful is a gigantic understatement. She promised that more photos would come later, and she wrote, "Off to the islands with my husband." What do you think about Maddie's tragedy and how she rebuilt her life with faith and hope? Have you read Maddie's book, or would you like to read it? Let me know in the comments below.